Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Carlton People. As I always say, they're all special, but I always enjoy being able to chat to people who are abroad, whether they come from Victoria like myself or interstate. But today I've got Simon Ross. Good morning from Melbourne, Simon.
That's right, yep. Melbourne boy through and through.
Absolutely, mate. Now, where are you situated at the moment? Where are we getting you from?
Well, calling in from Barbados. We live in a place called Lower Carlton, would you believe?
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you go onto Google Maps, Lower Carlton. So we're on the beach on the west coast. Yeah, so we built here about 2 years ago.
Yeah. You can, I could see the happiness and the freedom in your eyes.
Yes.
It's a distant thing.
Yeah, well, I can't think of a better place to be, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks very much for your time. Why don't you take us through talk to us a little bit about you and your Carlton story and where it all begins.
Okay. Yeah, well, I grew up early years in Chelsea, which was the recruiting district for St Kilda. And so my father, who's a long-time Footscray supporter, got myself, my younger brother, my older brother, St Kilda football jumpers. And being, in the middle of two boys, we never got on together. So I sort of broke out and actually a friend of mine, his father, I think, played in the reserves or something for Carlton. So I thought, oh, Carlton, I like the colour blue, I'll change across to Carlton. And never looked back. So those in the glory years of late 70s, 80s. So had some great memories following the Mighty Blues. And unfortunately for my brothers, they suffered some pretty horrendous years continuing on with St Kilda.
I thought I could sense the happiness in your eyes. I wasn't sure if it was the beach or if it was because you've grown up in the golden era where the mighty Carlton Football Club just ruled the world.
Yeah, well, that's what all I knew, that Carlton ruled the world. I was fortunate enough to go to two of the grand finals. My older brother was in the MCC, so he was able to get us tickets to the 87 and 95 grand final. So I've got a 100% record for Carlton winning grand final. So next time we're in the grand final, I'm expecting to get a ticket to get me along to make sure we continue that winning streak.
We're going to need you there for sure. So what are some of the early memories that you have? Obviously, you mentioned with your brothers and the family ties and wanting to be a little different. But what are some of the early memories for you? How far back does that go?
Oh, look, I suppose I never really started going to games until I went up to university up in the city. And so it was Princess Park, the George Heatley stand, Dominator coming through the centre, and the crowd atmosphere at Princess Park was incredible. So I saw some fantastic games. Saw some not so good games too when Warwick Kappa took the screamer down. I think it was down the other end and kicked that famous goal. But yes, I think it was another victory against North Melbourne that we came back from behind and Dominator, Wayne Johnson, was won the day for the Mighty Blue Boys. But it was always great to go and see the Blues, Princess Park. It's that hometown advantage, I suppose. The whole atmosphere was fantastic.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I've been born into a generation where I haven't seen a lot of success, and obviously, I try and learn as much as I can through people like yourself who have experienced the success, and obviously all the same names keep popping up, and all the the great achievements that they were able to reach. And Wayne Johnson, the Dominator, he is always the common theme. What I never watched him play apart from when you see clips on the internet. So what What was he? What was it like with him? Was he someone you really grew
I
an
suppose
affinity to?
he personified the Carlton ethos. I suppose it was that swagger, it was that determination. Nothing was going to keep him behind, keep him back, and just the way he tore through packs and had a real arrogance in the way in which he played, and that's how Carlton played in those days. There was a confidence, there was a swagger, and I think that's what this new generation needs to develop, and that will come, I suppose, with experience and with winning. But you'd always go into a game with knowing that you were going to win. That you had a really good shot at winning, and I suppose I'm starting to see that evolve in our game, particularly the later part of this year. We just need to get that swagger now.
Yeah, and I want to go back a little bit to you being in Barbados. How do you get to Barbados? And because it's interesting because go for it.
A lot of long flights. There's different ways. You go through London. I've got one son in London, so that's sort of the preferred approach. My wife's also English, so she's got family there. But you can, if you go to New York, I think through LA, New York, then down to Barbados. Or if you want to take a bit more adventurous route, you can fly Santiago, Chile,
right?
Then up to Panama, then Panama across to Barbados. I think that could actually be the shortest route, but I haven't done that route before. It's a decent hike.
You are the personification of a blue abroad.
Yeah, I sort of when I saw the title of your YouTube channel, I wondered what it was about. I thought maybe you lived abroad and it was for the expat community, but obviously you're in Melbourne at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, I was abroad.
Right.
The channel's really all about blue, meaning all of us, and all of us being abroad, but not necessarily overseas by definition. More so in a wide-ranging area. So that was that's the premise of the name. But I always jump at the opportunity to speak to people who are not from Australia or not living in Australia, because that was me for a few years, and I want to touch on that because I've obviously got my experiences with the 8 or 9 hour time difference and waking up at crazy hours of the morning to watch games. What's game day like for you?
Well, normally I'm trying to watch it in the afternoon. I like to sit down and have a few beers, and so I draw the curtains and recreate that sort of nighttime feel. So in the mornings I'm trying to distract myself. No social media, no newspapers. I go to the beach. Go out for the morning. We do some shopping or whatever. Have a nice lunch, and then but it is strange watching the game, knowing that it's actually predetermined. It's all happened, and so you just go under. There's no turning the clock back. It's actually happened. Whatever I watch is it's in the can. So hopefully more good results than bad.
Absolutely. So I believe it's a 14-hour difference to Melbourne.
Yeah, so it's about 14 hours.
Yeah. So the early game would probably not be the one for you to watch if it's on a Sunday afternoon.
Yes. Yeah. That's the ungodly hour, but the night matches. So Freo. Was it GWS? Not GWS. So Gold Coast.
Yeah.
I actually caught those in real time, which was a treat for me. But I watch it on my iPhone rather than on the big TV.
Okay, I love it. Well, such is the advancement in technology. I think we were talking about it briefly before we started. What was it like consuming sport? Footy mostly, but sport growing up compared to what you see now. Is it mind blowing for you?
Well, I used to just listen to the radio. I'd be doing the gardening, back on the Mornington to Peninsula, and I'd listen to the games on the radio. You didn't have very few matches were broadcast live. I don't remember any actually. Maybe some night matches, but you'd Saturday afternoons. The football would be on the radio. If you weren't there, you'd get it on the radio, and that was it. And now to think, I can live halfway around the world and actually see these games in real time in high definition. Mostly, you can see the action better than people at the ground.
Yeah.
So I do find it quite remarkable, particularly being somewhere so remote, like Barbados, and to get the internet speeds we do, and have all the technology that I can watch whatever game I like, in high definition, and then replay them. My wife thinks I'm crazy because I watched the game the first time, and then of course you've got to watch it the second time to get all the nuances about who's what's happened, who played well, and the finer points of the game. So it's it makes living away from Melbourne a hell of a lot easier, I suppose. The fact that I can get access to the games, but I'm a very keen surfer. So what I found during football season, there's no surf on our coast,
Right.
and then the football season finishes, the surf starts picking up. So I can either have a surf or I can watch football. I can't have them both. So I'm not too sure which one I'd actually give up, though, if I had to choose one.
Yeah. I think the other fascinating thing is I mean, obviously you can watch a game live wherever you like, and that is remarkable, as you said. But I think the on-demand concept is interesting too, because you can go back and watch round 7 from last year or round 5, whatever it is, and as you were saying, growing up, listening to the radio. If you weren't there, you had to listen on the radio, and then if you didn't listen to the game on the radio, I don't think there was another way to consume the game afterwards.
Yeah, and then the commentaries, the footy show. You'd watch the Sunday. I can't remember the name of the show. On Sunday, you'd have the footy show, and that was it. But now, I go online through my VPN. I can plug into the Nine app, and I'll watch footy classifieds. Or there's all these different footy shows I can plug into to keep engaged with what's going on, what's the gossip, what's the news, what's happening with injuries, and so it's as if I'm in Melbourne. It's great.
Yeah. Get the best of both worlds. So with the current group that we've got, we're in this new era. What are you seeing? What are your takes? What is your feeling about what's happening at the moment?
Look, obviously, with the rest of Carlton supporters, excited about the new batch coming through. What I have noticed though, when they play with aggression, they tend to win, and if they're not playing aggressive football, they're just getting run over. So I suppose I'd like to see a bit more swagger, a bit more mongrels, maybe too tough a term, but to be a bit more aggressive, with the game, with the tackle, not the Tom Lynch sort of aggression. I don't like
aggression.
A bit of fake aggression. That to me, is lacks real courage. What I like to see is hard in for the ball, to show your courage and your aggression that way. And I think that's how Carlton really need to implant their stamp on the game. Being tough for the ball, hard for the ball, knowing that the opposition knows that when a Carlton player is going for the ball, they're going to have to watch out. That it's going to be a hard-fought contest. And I think that Richmond play that way. I think the successful teams, in the past have played that way. You look at Sydney, how tough they play, and then you look at North, who punch way above their weight because I think of the hard attack of the ball they go with. So I think Carlton need to maybe adopt a bit more of that hard fought aggression.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure. Obviously you've got Curnow who plays with that toughness. Cripps, obviously, but I'm not too sure there's too many other players. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the other players who really play with that real toughness in the ball. I suppose I look back at the Dominator. You wouldn't want to come between him and a ball. And I don't know who do you think in the Carlton team, other than who I've mentioned, play with that sort of aggression?
I think you're spot on. I think this time last year we were yearning for that type of player or players. We drafted obviously some younger guys who still coming into their own as players, as men, still growing into their bodies. I think Jack Martin, who we've recruited, I think he plays with that that aggression.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think one of the guys who's been on the sidelines for so long, Tom Williamson, I see a little bit of it. I see some early signs with him.
Yeah, and the passion. That's great to see.
Yeah. So I
and
think
he's still very young.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the first two that come to mind. But I think you're right. I think we need I mean, you look at David Teague, the coach. I mean, you look at the way he played. He says it himself. He wasn't the most skillful player. He wasn't as talented as the others around him, but he got the most out of himself because he went hard at the ball, played his role, and he had some comments about the Tom Lynch, aggression. And he has a rule with his players. There's no taunting allowed with the other side.
Yeah.
The rule is you have to do it on the scoreboard and you have to do it with your attack on the football.
Yeah. I hate that look. Punching, stomach punches behind the ball, the niggling. It's really false courage. Show it. Show that courage when you're attacking the ball. That's how the other team, is going to be fearful. Not some jumper punch or stomach punch behind the play. That to me doesn't suggest any form of courage.
Yeah, exactly right. So of the young group that you see, I mean they're starting to really not peak just yet, but they're starting to turn a corner, I think, in their careers and in their lives as they mature. Who are some of the standouts for you that you really see good signs in? Because you've seen premiership players, so who are some of the players that have those attributes?
Look, I think it's the steadiness of Wiedering.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Brucey Dool.
Really?
Just someone very reliable. Rarely puts a foot wrong. Goes hard for the ball. Great intercept. I'm really liking what I see with McKay. I can't sort of suggest he plays like anyone who I can think of in the past. I'm seeing a little bit of Cooter in Setterfield. Just his run. It's hard at the ball. Maybe not the same sort of high marking. But I think he's got a similar build that he's still young, but he could build into. I'm liking what I'm seeing from De Koning. Early days yet, but great athleticism. And once he starts holding on to some of those grabs, I think he'll be really exciting. I'm keen to see Dow back into the team. He needs to improve his finishing, but he's got some great run and got some good skills in close. Trying to think. Obviously you spoke about Martin. I can't think of anyone else.
Yeah, those are
just a good crop. I suppose I'd like to see them play a couple more of the younger players. Maybe give the likes of Eddie Betts and Simo a bit of a break. Let's give the younger guys a bit of a chance, because the premiership window is maybe 2-3 years away, and I can't see Simo and Eddie in that window.
Yeah.
So you got to be planning for that 2-3 years out.
Yeah, that's been quite a lot of the talk over the last month or so has been about that, and there's people on either side of the fence. Some think that listen, we're in finals contention now, and as long as we're in finals contention, we've got to be playing these experienced guys, and others feel that hey, we've got to look to the future. We've got to be developing these kids that can just slot in. That way, the transition isn't as harsh. But it's, I think with Simo in particular, he's it's so hard to let them go because they've been through such dark times.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think Simo's the most losingest player in history, and you don't want him to deny him that the winning because he hasn't seen so much. But I think as a club man, he'll understand that he's not part of the next premiership group. And the same thing with Eddie. They've been great club men, but the club's bigger than the individual. And the same thing with Cruiser. I'd love to see him get his 200 games at Carlton. Carlton play so much better. With Cruiser. He's the heart and soul of the club. But is he going to be part of that premiership team? I don't know. Is it more important to be putting games into DeConnick? To prepare him for that premiership push. I'd hate to see them get rid of Cruiser until he gets his 200, but because he's been such a loyal servant of the club. But it's got to be bigger than the individual.
Yeah, that's
and there's got to be a ruthlessness, not just in terms of the way in which the players go about the game, but the way in which the whole club goes about their pursuit of the premiership. They do have to be quite ruthless in terms of their who they keep on and who they develop.
Yeah, those are the principles of success, isn't it?
Yeah. You don't get, and I suppose you saw North Melbourne go through that when they got rid of Boomer Harvey. Still had games left in him, but they made a tough call. Whether it was the right call, who knows? Maybe it's not such a good call at the moment, but it's that ruthlessness that is needed. Anyway, time will tell.
Absolutely. Well, before I let you go, I like to ask everyone the same question. Now, you alluded to the fact that we're 2 or 3 years away from the premiership window. So when we look back on this video in 10, 15 years' time, when I want to ask you, when do you think we're going to be holding up premiership number 17?
Okay. Look, I think finals next year. I think we're in premiership contention in the top 4 the year after, and premiership contention the year after that. So what's that? Another 3 years.
Yep. Excellent.
And I'd be disappointed if we hadn't had that premiership up high within the next 4 years.
Yeah.
That's our premiership window.
Yeah, I'm with you. The demographic of the list, where they're at, where the age, the profile of the list at that time, the development that should be coming. Yeah, I think you're on the money.
Yeah, and we've still got a whole crop of first round draft picks still to come through. You look at O'Neill, O'Brien, Dow, and then the later bunch of first round draft picks. They're still going to get blooded, and we've got a good pipeline of talent to come through, and I think sustain us for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining me. I really enjoyed the chat with
nice
someone
to have that
living
two-way
abroad.
conversation. I'm always seeing you and having the reviews and the player ratings, which I really appreciate. So thanks for all the effort you're putting into bringing us remote Blues supporters aboard, coming on board and giving us that more intimate experience. So really appreciate it.
No, you're very welcome, mates. And go the Mighty Blues, hey?
And anyone out there, if they come to Barbados, make sure they look me up.
Will do. I'll keep you to that.
Okay. Take care.
See
Thanks,
you, mate.
Terry.